Okay, so this is my project on business and just like conducting business in Thailand. All right, and then geography. Thailand is a kingdom in Southeast Asia. It is bordered in the west and northwest by Myanmar, the southwest by the Andaman Sea, the east and northeast by Laos, and then in the southeast by Cambodia, the south by the Gulf of Thailand, and then by Malaysia. And it's kind of all kind of shown pretty bad in the photo. And then the capital of Thailand would be Bangkok. And then demographic and cultural information. There are 7 main ethnicities in Thailand, but there are 70 different overall ethnic groups. And then the population is 76.1 million, with Thai being the most spoken language, obviously. And then Buddhism is also widely practiced around Thailand. And then current events in Thailand. Currently, they have going on the Israel and Hamas war. I'm not going to read all of that, but it's basically right now they are trying to create a truce, so like things can get better and they can stop the war, obviously. And then it's saying that also, in case of them not establishing a truce, they're trying to prepare each other to be ready for war. Okay. Next is cultural profiling. Thais generally value their freedom of personal expression, speech, and religion. The country's overall evading colonization by European nations states has also contributed to the sense of pride and value, and freedom and autonomy. However, despite the cultural value placed on the freedom of expression, laws limit the extent to which Thais can criticize or insult the 2 fundamental institutions, which is the royal family and Buddhism. And then that experience of freedom for Thai people has been marred by underlying tension since the whole 2014 military coup, creating common feelings regarding the whole unstable political situation. They have brought a level of uncertainty, lack of trust about the democracy in Thailand because of everything that happened. All right. And there are also some pretty notable manners and costumes. There's a bunch more than this, but this is the few that I noticed that were pretty common. Removing your shoes. In many Asian cultures, removing your shoes is essential. Even in some like businesses and restaurants, you might be asked to remove your shoes. Usually, you'll see a pile of shoes at the entrance if you need to know whether or not to be wearing shoes. Return a Y. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's a prayer-like gesture. And you basically do the gesture with placing your hands in front and then slightly nodding, like bowing your head. If not doing this, it's considered very impolite. Only the king and the monks do not have to return. Otherwise, everyone is expected to. And then another thing that's pretty common is using your right hand. The left hand is considered dirty. And they kind of consider it like towards using it for like going to the bathroom. So it's kind of unsanitary to use your left, because it's common to use your left more than your right for that situation. And then it's saying like always to pass objects with your right hand, and then touch with your left. Touch your left hand to your right forearm if you wish to show extra respect. when instead of I don't even know what I'm saying. And then eating with a spoon. The proper way to enjoy delicious Thai food is with a spoon in your right and then a fork in your left. The fork is used to rake into the food and onto the spoon. It never goes into your mouth. It's kind of just like there to help you. And then chopsticks too are not used in every dish. They are only used in noodle dishes and treats. And then whenever you encounter a monk, you always need to show respect. When greeting, you need to be sure to show respect, and monks receive a higher Y than ordinary people, but they do not have to return your gesture. And women should never touch a monk, brush a monk's robe, or hand something to a monk. And then smile. The Thai smile is famous, essential to the Thailand etiquette. Thais show it whenever they can, always returning someone's smile, and then smile is also used mainly towards like negotiations and in apologies. And then relaxing and just in everyday life. So they're pretty popular. All right. And then next is religion. In Thailand, we'll load. All right. And then there are three mainly practiced religions in Thailand. Buddhism being at 92.5%, Christianity being at 1.2%, and Muslim being at 5.4%. So Buddhism is the overall one, I would say, for the country, like the main religion, because the majority of the country believes in Buddhism. And I feel like the other two are like noticeable, like they're notable in Thailand, but they're not as widely practiced, which is why obviously that the percentage is not as high. Right. Why is it being weird? Alright, and then next being is languages spoken. Over on like the little picture over here, it's just kind of what like the Thai languages look like, which I think is really cool because it's a lot of symbols, and I feel like that'd be really difficult to learn because a bunch of them look similar. But Thai obviously is being spoken by 53% of the population. It's the most commonly spoken out of everything. Lao at 27, Chinese at 12, Malay at 4, and then Khmer, I want to say, at 3%. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Thai is going to be spoken by the majority. Okay. Alright, and then education. Education in Thailand mandates 9 years of basic education with at least 6 years of elementary school and 3 years of lower secondary school. And then education at most public schools are free up until a grade 9, so your freshman year. And then the government provides 3 years of free preschool and 3 years of free upper secondary education. Alright, so I also feel business etiquette too is really important in Thailand. I feel like it can be looked at a bunch of different ways, but this is the most common things that I had found about business etiquette. Formal business meetings in Thailand are often scheduled by written invitation and then often also followed by a phone call just to like confirm the like whole meeting. At a business meeting, punctuality is very much expected, and formal attire, suit and tie, should be worn. In Thailand, it's often thought that the way one presents oneself correlates to the professional standing. So you want to look good, basically. You want to look like you mean business. It is common to make small talk before a Thai business meeting with conversation about like different family values, age, hobbies, and education being some of the usual topics that you'll hear. They also give and receive business cards with their right hand or both hands and consider the details of the card and receive before storing it away. Relationships are very big in Thailand. They are a relationship-oriented country, so obviously relationships are an important part in business as well. It is often considered rude and abrupt. It's considered rude to begin talking business without small talk first. So they're not going to rush you into the whole business. They're like business meeting. They want to get to know you before they start talking. During a meeting, you should also address the most senior person whom you have a relationship with. If the senior officials are presented at a meeting, the expectation is that they will meet with someone of the similar ranking in the organization, not juniors. So they're very hierarchical as well. That I had noticed. So they apply that in just their everyday life when like talking to someone who goes out higher up with you, and in business too. So they're very much like, you need to show anyone else that's above you respect. And then business luncheons. I think I said that right. If not, it's fine. In Thailand, it's a business relationship-based culture. Like I said, regular informal meetings beyond the conference room play a decisive role in the initiation of business and then in the cooperation between different partners that they may have. It's all about getting to know each other personally, and the first priority is always as a person and not the business project itself. And then consider each activity as an excellent opportunity to invest in the relationship. Eating together in the little business luncheons, all dishes are placed in the middle of the table, which you can serve yourself from. And then in the restaurant order, like for us, appetizer, main course, and dessert does not exist. In Thailand, the food is also eaten with the fork and the spoon, which I touched on earlier, the fork being in the left, and then pushing food into the spoon. And then same thing again, the chopsticks are only used with certain dishes. And then two, you'll also get let your host also explain in local specialties to you, and then do try everything. Even if you don't like it, just try, If you don't like spicy food, tell your hosts ahead of time, but usually they won't serve you too spicy food for your first time. And then the host will always pay the bill discreetly, but just to make sure, like, they have you, and it's their etiquette to send them an invitation, like, in return, thanking them for, like, paying and then inviting you out. Alright, and then another thing too is the Hofstede's comparisons. They all kind of say, they say Thai, USA, and Australia. You can see that uncertainty avoidance is pretty high in Thailand compared to the other countries. As for power distance, long-term orientation as well. Individualism and masculinity is something where you see kind of differently. Individualism is not really a big thing in Thai culture. Everything is kind of like grouped. Everyone's very like collective, and then the same thing for masculinity. Everything is more feminine in Thailand compared to the other countries. Alright, I always noticed the sound is so choppy, but it's just that the things are working, and it's so annoying, but it's fine. And then global companies doing business in Thailand, I noticed that there was Microsoft, Google, Estee Lauder, when I was doing my project, and I thought it was kind of cool, because I never would think that they would be doing any kind of business in Thailand. Alright, I'm not going to read all of this, but why should you do business in Thailand? I would say if you were to do business in Thailand, I feel like they have long, pretty good established business-friendly laws and then free liberal trade policies, which make it a good idea, like an attractive investment for foreigners. And I think that also they are supported by a variety of tax incentives and import duty exempts offered by the Thailand Board of Investment. They are also developing world-class transport links internationally and domestically. And then these include shipping capacity, improved air transport links capacity, and then high-speed rail links. Coupled with cutting into digital infrastructure, their trade and commerce will also flourish throughout the country, with the economic powerhouses of countries like China, Japan, and the United States presenting opportunities for further growth. So whether you're moving to the region, working in the area, investing, or doing business in Thailand, I think people should try it out.